Hey everybody, welcome to Essential TV on Celebrity Page. We are here to talk about a little movie I like to call The Star Wars.
The Star Wars. I'm Roddy McInnes, incidentally, and this here is Luke Watson.
So we are going to have a spoiler-free discussion about Star Wars The Last Jedi. And we have not really had a chance to talk about this yet, so...
We both saw it last night. I saw it at 10:45 in normal cinema. I didn't see any fancy 3D or IMAX. I didn't pay over the odds for it, and
I did see it 3D.
I'm aware. And
How do you know I saw it in 3D?
Because you're the sort of person that sees things in 3D. You're that sort of guy.
Pay the surcharge?
Yeah. You have a lot of money.
Like I'm made of money?
Yes, more than I am. I'm a comedian. I get paid in like chicken tenders mostly.
Well, you know what? You got to eat.
I know, but not to see Star Wars.
Barbecue sauce is extra.
Can't barter chicken for...
All right. So first of all, I woke up this morning with two different text messages about this movie. One of them was a GIF of Krusty the Clown saying, "What the heck was that?"
Uh-huh.
And the other one was from you saying, and I quote,
Yep.
"Better than Empire."
Stand by it. Completely stand by it. I don't care what you say. I completely stand by the fact that this is maybe not better in some respects, but just as good as Empire. And I will explain why.
Just as good.
Yes. Just as good, if not better, depending on what sort of metric or scale you use.
Okay, you're going to have to defend that because now what I thought of this movie, I enjoyed it.
Sure.
Was it a fun movie? Sure.
Absolutely.
But I didn't love it. I really didn't.
That's because you're a Philistine. You're a person devoid of any sort of sense of appreciation of culture, then, if you don't feel that that's a wonderful, wonderful movie. It was excellent. It was everything I wanted to be and more. And in some places less, but I feel that its flaws actually made it better in a lot of respects.
All right. Now, keep in mind, we cannot talk about the actual events of the movie. So it's going to be hard for us to defend our differing perspectives.
All right. I've got my argument prepared.
Okay. My thing with this is that, first of all, it's Rian Johnson. He's the director. I was excited when Rian Johnson was announced as the director.
Yeah, I like his work. I like his movies. I like most of the things that he's done. He did Looper. He did Brick, which is one of my favorites.
He's creative. He's daring. He was a good choice for this.
And he's the reason that Joseph Gordon-Levitt has a part in Star Wars.
Oh, I didn't know he had a part in Star Wars.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, spoilers. You don't know that he's in it, but he does actually have a part in the movie. I watched the title sequence.
Was he playing Bruce Willis?
Probably.
So Rian Johnson takes over from J.J. Abrams, who, of course, brought Star Wars back with The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And so if you follow the formula of Star Wars, just like the original A New Hope, sets things up, it introduces you to the characters, it's good action. The Empire Strikes Back is the darker, more serious, more dramatic movie in the series, followed by Return of the Jedi, which is really just a big Ewok party. We don't need to talk about that. So Rian Johnson
It's a different thing in the gay community, incidentally.
An Ewok party?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've never been invited to one.
All we need for you is a sort of hood and a spear, and I think that'd be an excellent Halloween costume for you.
I've probably got them. So
Continue with your thoughts.
So I would say that this does live up to being the Empire of this trilogy so far.
And therein lies the problem, but we'll get to that in a wee second.
I would love to know that problem.
You'd like to know that problem now? Right. It is, as everything in the middle of a trilogy is the empire of something. If you're in the middle of a group of three, you are the empire of that trilogy. And now, don't get me wrong, The Empire Strikes Back is a wonderful, brilliant film. And the thing is, much in the same way that Citizen Kane or GoldenEye, there we go, is a good example for N64. Citizen Kane or GoldenEye are Citizen Kane's the best film of all time, not because it's the best film of all time, it's because it was what it did at the time. Empire, phenomenal film. At the time, they couldn't do CGI, they couldn't do, if they wanted effects, they had to overlay the actual film. There's a very famous...
I should have warned you not to tap the desk.
Sorry. There's a very famous
havoc on everyone's eardrums.
There's a very famous bit in that when the snow speeders are going through and fighting the AT-AT walkers, where through the frame of one of the walkers you can actually see, or through the frame of the cockpit you can see the legs of one of the walkers.
Yeah.
It's because of the nature of film.
It's just blue screen.
Here's the thing: were you given the choice of like a movie that you could watch over and over again for the rest of your life, it will not be Citizen Kane, because despite the fact it is good, it's about what it did at the time. Now, the Pharos, the lighthouse, was one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world. Phenomenal building. Not the best lighthouse that's ever existed. We now have better lighthouses. It just was at the time.
You're saying that the
best
Empire
lighthouse.
Strikes Back is the legendary best Star Wars movie because at the time it was so exceptional.
Yes, because what it did at the time, and spoilers with Luke being Darth Vader's son and all that. I don't know. For those you haven't seen the Empire
movie they came
Strikes
out in the
Back.
late 70s.
Yeah, it's not that it is. It's not that it's better than Empire. But here's the thing: you can't compare it if you're using Empire as the metric and scale by which you measure movies.
Okay, so
you cannot ascribe Empire an infinite quantity.
So I'll compare it a different way.
Sure.
When I watched this movie,
Yes.
again, I enjoyed it. It was fine. But it just felt to me like, even comparing it to The Force Awakens, the movie that it is following up, The Force Awakens has many flaws.
Yes.
It is a fun movie, though. I thoroughly enjoy The Force Awakens, but it felt so much more epic, so much of a grander scale to me than what this movie, than what The Last Jedi felt like. And I think that might be simply a result of the fact that the locations, maybe, the action wasn't as spread out, as sprawling as in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
It felt like a smaller movie to me.
And that's all very well and good, but I think the fact that the action is not spread out all over the place is a very bold move in the director's part. Like keeping the entire central problem and creating a ticking clock out of it is wonderful. It's a bold move. It means that the action is focused. That everything, the focus of the movie stays in one place, and I feel it's better for that. Quite frankly, it's a wonderful
More
film.
character driven?
More character. Right. Here's another reason why it's better than Empire. One, the acting. Mark Hamill over the past few decades has learned how to act, and he is
Would you say
incredible.
Would
He's
you
very
say
good.
that this was Mark Hamill's tour de force?
Yes, I would. As horrible a joke as that is, I would absolutely say it's his tour de force. Carrie Fisher is phenomenal in it.
How about the new guys?
The new
cast.
It's a better generation of actors. They haven't just pulled someone off the set who was a carpenter to play Han Solo. They actually
that's true.
cast people who are good.
Adam Driver seems like he actually wants to be there.
I'm not a big fan of Adam Driver at the best of times. I can take or leave him. I didn't like Girls. I didn't like him in Girls. I think he's hipster nonsense, and I wish he'd get a haircut. But look at him. It's a face you just want to slap.
I do not agree. Adam Driver, come on our show. I promise I won't slap you, but I can't.
I will. I'll slap the hell out of you. I don't care.
We have about 30 seconds to
Not now.
wrap this
You're
up.
jacked, but
We're going to the next segment.
Right.
Why don't you like Adam Driver?
I don't not like Adam Driver. He's
Why-
excellent in the film.
Okay. Great.
Even the people that I don't like are phenomenal.
Okay. So,
Next.
okay. All right. So, my last thing on this is that I think it felt like it lacked ambition because it wasn't as sprawling. This trilogy to me feels like it's more attacked on to the previous 6 movies than a logical continuation. And I think maybe that feeling is starting to weigh on me. The Force Awakens, I gave it a lot of leeway because it was bringing it back and making it exciting.
Sure.
But now I'm getting more critical.
And that's fine, and that's your business as a critic. But it's different from Empire because it is the Empire of that trilogy. The people who are making this film know this, and so have tried to make it as different as possible. Empire was a transitory film. It traveled, it sprawled about the place. They're doing the inverse of that now. They created something which tells a very important story statically, like in a more stationary way. This is difficult, you're right.
All right. So let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk about we can't talk about the Last Jedi specific plot points, but what I do want to talk about is what we know is coming up for future Star Wars movies. So we know that since Disney acquired Star Wars, they know how to keep these things going, keep pumping out more movies.
Yes, they do.
Keeping this going. This is now going to be a lifelong thing.
Oh, yeah.
We are never going to run out of Star Wars because Disney will outlive all of us.
Yes.
And so
Mouse is immortal.
the mouse is immortal, and alas,
It owns everything now.
really
It
doesn't.
owns the entirety of my childhood.
Basically, Disney has the property rights to pop culture.
Yeah, they've got to buy a 4-script just like that. Just
So we know that we're going to get at least one Star Wars movie every year.
I did not know that. Every
Well,
single year?
So the way they've been doing it with this new trilogy, it was The Force Awakens, and then they did Rogue One, and then they did The Last Jedi. And the next is going to be Solo, a Han Solo movie.
A solo Han Solo movie.
Exactly. And then the next one will be the final chapter in the Skywalker trilogy of trilogies. And so it's planned for every single year.
Right.
And then, of course, we know that Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi, they've just announced that he's getting his own trilogy. He's going to be able to make Star Wars movies that are completely removed
From the canon.
from the main 9, the Skywalker stories, and make movies that are yet to be determined. We don't know what they're about. He has stated that they will not be about the Knights of the Old Republic, though.
And
the only thing we know.
that's a good thing because the games weren't brilliant. I would like to point out, however, that Rian Johnson, who wrote this as well as directed it, has a deep and powerful understanding of the source material. People may or may not have noticed it. And listen, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but there are points where people fight with lightsabers. Right, that's an inevitability.
This is a Star Wars
Yes,
movie.
right. But if you watch, they react to each other. How one person changes a stance, the other person changes it to correspond. There are 9 or 10, as I've read in my nerditude, different lightsaber fighting styles, and that sort of inclusion of that sort of thing is wonderful. That suggestion denotes a deep connection with the material, and that I will forgive.
I would say that the difference between this era with a Rian Johnson versus George Lucas was when George Lucas was making Star Wars prequels, he could just introduce any old thing and say, well, of course that is canon. That is the way it is. I'm George Lucas. And Rian Johnson now under the authority of Disney
yes,
has to adhere to the
Yeah.
bigger picture. And
yeah,
so
it's all about the good of the colony at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah, do what we say, or else the mouse gets
we're
angry.
going to see that, now we're going to have less midichlorians and more Jedi fighting stances, for better or worse.
Better, by far and away better. Here's the thing, fanboys, of which I am not one but a true appreciator. You're going to have to lean into this. It's your childhood, it's your nostalgia, but this ain't your movie. These people have a duty of care over this product, and you, as much as you think you love it more than anyone else, don't have a say. So you're either have to like it or lump it. And I think you should like it because they include things that you would not normally see.
But another thing about that, and this has been a big story in the press, in the industry press, that the directors of these movies have been having a hard time. JJ is JJ. Kathleen Kennedy, who's basically in charge of Star Wars for Disney, brings JJ in, they reboot, essentially reboot. They continue it, but it's pretty fresh.
It's the same but different.
The Force Awakens. But then what happened with Rogue One, Gareth Edwards was brought in to direct, and they started to have some issues behind the scenes, and they brought someone else in to help edit it.
A litigator or whatever, yeah.
And there were a lot of reshoots, and people were worried about Rogue One because it sounds like there's problems with this movie. I would say Rogue One is one of the best Star Wars movies. It might be, I hate to say it, it might be my favorite.
Okay.
Maybe it's just because I've seen Empire so many times that Rogue One is still kind of fresh to me.
Novelty of it.
But I would say Rogue One I enjoy right now at least as much as Empire. But that was a situation where it sounded iffy. They made it great.
Yeah.
Then what happened was they brought in Phil Lord and Christopher Miller.
Yes.
They were the directors of 21 Jump Street,
Which is an excellent film. And
the Lego Movie.
Also
They said,
excellent.
we're going to give you guys the Han Solo movie. And this did not go as well as it did with Gareth Edwards on Rogue One. And they had to actually take the movie away from them. And apparently these guys, what works with 21 Jump Street,
21
Drunk Street does not work for Star Wars because they could not adhere to the standards.
Yes.
They liked a lot of improv with their actors, and apparently they would not shoot enough coverage. And so The producers stepped in and they handed the movie to Ron Howard.
Okay.
Because you cannot get any safer than Opie Cunningham.
No, you cannot. Ron Howard will do a good job. Will he do a phenomenal, groundbreaking job? Probably not.
It'll be a competent.
It'll be an excellent film. But it won't be paradigm shifting. And herein lies the crux of the matter. I feel that the Force Awakens is actually a paradigm shifting moment in the Star Wars run. It's incredible visually.
The Force Awakens?
No. The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi.
Sorry, I misspoke. It's incredible visually. It's the best thing. I'm going to go back and see it in 3D and IMAX.
Beautifully shot movie.
It's not just about it being beautifully shot, man. The art, the influence in the art is incredible. Anyway, right, we'll move on. We've got more to talk about. I can wax.
Well, my last thing I wanted to point out is that we're going to go beyond the movies because the other thing that I'm really excited about is Star Wars Land.
Right.
Have you heard about this?
I have. The forthcoming attraction at Disney.
Thanks to our owners, the people who own everything we love, Disney, we will be able to immerse ourselves in an interactive Star Wars theme park experience.
Yeah. What's that Futurama meme? Shut up and take my money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where you
all
go
day.
there and basically they've got
to sit in an A fighter. Yeah, an A-wing all day. I will be there.
Yeah, it's going to be interactive where basically they try to recruit you to fight for the First Order or the Resistance, and they follow you around the park in a totally creepy but awesome way. And you are a part of the story. 2019, we get to live Star Wars.
Excellent. I will be there. We should go. We should plan a trip. We'll pay for it. We'll live stream from it.
Bring you with us.
Yeah, come along. Let's both be vastly underwhelmed by it.
We're gonna bring you. Let's just be clear. You can watch us.
Yeah, you can stand outside next to security guards, and we'll wave at you as we go by.
All right. So, Star Wars.
Yeah.
And rituals. Okay. I want to talk about the things that we do as Star Wars fans, and I think it's changed.
Right.
It has changed over the years. What was the first Star Wars movie you saw in a theater?
Because, believe it or not, I'm 30 years old, despite the fact I look like this. It was actually The Phantom Menace.
You saw The Phantom Menace. That was your first Star Wars movie?
Yeah, that was my first Star Wars, and I'm still with it. Thus showing my perspicacity and perseverance and indefatigability and my faith in this
You didn't get to see the special editions in theater?
I did. Not in theaters, but I got to see the remastered versions. The Phantom Menace was my first, and it was a horrible experience. But I didn't know any better at the time. I'd seen the films previously. I'd seen Empire.
How old were you when The Phantom Menace came out?
Oh, God knows. When did it come out?
Were you in like elementary school?
High school, I think, wasn't it? No.
I was in high school.
You were in high school. I probably was in elementary school because you're as old as time.
So I remember I did see all the special editions. I'm not old enough to have seen the original run.
No.
I would have been 1 year old when The Return of the Jedi came out. I did watch the Ewok cartoon series.
Oh, the Caravan of Courage.
In the movies. I was introduced to Star Wars through the Ewoks.
I've read a book of them or two.
So
I read about Ben and Thingy Solo, his sister.
But that's the thing. To me, I never hated the Ewoks because I was of the age that the Ewoks were made for me when I was introduced to Star Wars.
Is this Edgar Wright's Ewok theory?
I don't know that.
Edgar Wright has this theory of the Cornetto trilogy. Were you born? Were you like 12 or younger when Last Jedi was? Not Last Jedi. Return of the Jedi was released. You're a fan of Ewoks. If not, you hate them.
And so my question for you, I guess you probably would have been a little bit too old for Episode 1 to
Jar Jar Binks?
love Jar Jar Binks.
Nope, absolutely not. Saw him
relate to 8-year-old Anakin.
Saw him for the sham that he was.
He's full of sham.
You know, they had long-term plans to make him like a central character. He would become a Jedi eventually and be like a main protagonist.
I've got some viewers here saying I saw the original run in theaters. You've just aged yourself. But in some ways I envy you because I've never been able to have that experience. I skipped school to go stand in line, and I was first in line at my local theater for Episode 1. And even though in hindsight,
Badge of shame if ever I heard one.
In hindsight's 2020. It's not a very good movie. It's very disappointing on many levels, but it was a good time. Because it was a different time. I think back then we were so starved for Star Wars that we were excited for anything. And it did not, I don't think it hit us. It didn't hit us like a ton of bricks. This is a disappointing movie.
Yeah, it came on slowly like a tumor.
And I saw it a couple times in theaters.
Did you?
I did because
You saw it once
we
or
were
twice?
starved for Star Wars, but now because of Disney, because we'll never be starved for Star Wars again, I feel like we are free to be pessimistic and optimistic.
Yeah, you're free. I think you're free to not hold it as such a sacred way. It's an excellent film. It's wonderful as a series. All of them aggregated are good. You know, you can't hold it to this sort of like high sacred level. And in the film, there's actually something about that. They lean quite heavily.
They know what's up.
They know what's up, and they appreciate that you can't just. It's time to let old things die, right? And that is a pertinent thing that I would like to communicate to people because it's true, right?
So let's talk about we've seen The Last Jedi, both of us. Again, spoiler free.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the characters, the new cast that is the new characters, the new heroes, the new villains that are carrying the torch forward.
You mean the actual professional actors who are
Well,
represented,
both,
as
both.
opposed to the first time round?
Because when The Force Awakens introduced these characters to me,
I didn't care about Finn.
I didn't care about any of them, to be quite honest. I thought Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, a lot of people, he was very divisive, where some people said, oh, he's too emo. You know, they were
My
pretty hard on him.
Kylo romance.
I kind of like that character, and I think a lot of it is because Adam Driver really gives it his all.
It's meant to be a sort of tortured, conflicted, almost teen, or someone who was a young man but got like convert and hasn't really come to terms emotionally with
Well, he's
what's
got a
going
chip on his shoulder, and he's got big shoes to fill, and it's interesting. But the thing is, we got
Chip in your shoulder
I
and
think
oversized
we got
shoes.
to know him in The Force Awakens.
Yeah. And
We got to know him. I don't think we really got to know him much better in this one because we already knew him.
I disagree. Vader, for example, was always this immovable force, so to speak. This binary, monochromatic, light or good. I am the dark side, and all that. There's always been conflict, and with Adam Driver's representation, that is testament of his skill as an actor, despite the fact that I don't rate him that highly as a human being. He's I don't know. I'm sure he's lovely. He's a talented actor, and that's exactly what this needs. This film has everything that I wanted it to. It has solid acting. It has beautiful set pieces. The art is incredible. The structure's phenomenal. The pacing's perfect. There are flaws, and if I can, it's not a spoiler, but there are two. In the trailer, you see Finn and Phasma fighting, right? There are certain scenes where they start off and it looks like they're going to pitch this as, and I'm predicting this now, a sort of Injustice Gods Among Us / Mortal Kombat style fighter, right? So you are Phasma or you are Finn. And because they came...
You're losing me on this.
No, all right,
Where
cool.
you're going with this.
Yeah, I watched it far more in-depthly than you did,
I
clearly.
mean, to me, that's a cool action scene, but
There is a point where people talk to each other and it sounds like things that fighting characters would say in games, like, you have to defeat my dragon fist.
Right, finish him.
Yeah, like that sort of thing. I call it right now. I think that's what's going to happen.
What?
A fighting game, a side-scrolling fighting
Oh,
game.
absolutely. They're going to make... They've done that before.
Speaking of toys,
Okay, so... Okay, Kylo Ren... Has your opinion changed, or is it the same after watching?
he's a different, more evolved character. He's more in depth. He's better. Adam Driver's doing a really good
How about
job.
Rey?
Rey she's still going to be. There was without spoilers, this is so difficult to talk about.
Let me tell you
Yes,
what I
she's
think.
evolved, but not as much as I'd like her to. She's a capable actress, but
I like her a lot more. I was not invested in her in The Force Awakens. After this
at
movie,
that point, you just
I'm
look
more
at her like
invested
she's
in
just
her.
the new Luke Skywalker.
Kind of.
But she's not.
Finn, I've never been terribly invested in him.
Mm.
I never really got the idea that, like, he's a stormtrooper 1 second, and then the next second he's killing
Yeah.
other stormtroopers, and there's absolutely he's not conflicted about that at all.
Here's the thing about creating a character. It's not at the moment he's still black and white. There's not like there's like he's brave or not. He's good or whatever. He's stormtrooper or rebel. To get true expression of character, you need to mix colors. There needs to be a gray area in your personality. And as of yet, they have yet to undefine him.
We have one comment. They didn't do enough with Rey. I disagree. I think
they did as much as they needed to.
This was a Rey movie. The last one I'll leave you with.
I disagree with that. This was a Luke Skywalker movie.
Well, but you know, he's passing the torch.
Sure.
The lightsaber as a torch. The last one, Porgs.
I'll buy one. I'm buying one for Christmas.
This is not really a spoiler, but I'm gonna tell you, I was going to this movie prepared to think like, they're just gonna shove these down our throats as the next toy, and
I'm fine.
It was tastefully done.
It was funny.
You know what? I'm okay with Porgs.
Executed well.
If they sell dolls, more power to you.
And they also paired them right next to their other highest selling toy character.
Do you appreciate? Last question. Do you appreciate George Lucas more or less now that we're 2 movies into the trilogy without him?
Do I appreciate him more or less? I appreciate him exactly as much as I did before because these are 2 different things.
Okay.
It's a continuation of the same story, and it is, as you said, a sort of same but not like different iteration, a reboot but not on Star Wars. That's it. Sorry.
To me,
that's George Lucas's thing. This is a different work of art.
All right.
Completely.
Well, to me, this is a derivative of his work.
Sure.
I feel like the first 6 really kind of love or hate the prequels. They do feel like
much in the way that Dizzy Phillips is derivative of Duke Ellington. They both play
this
jazz.
trilogy feels like it's a different thing, and
It is.
I feel I'm appreciating George more because I'm looking at the first 6 as a package. The more that I have something else to compare them to.
First, I don't count. I do count, but I don't like to think about the prequels. They're there for a reason. That reason is money, and that's fine.
No,
right,
George needed something to do.
Yeah, he needs an extension in his mansion or something.
All right. Well, my verdict on this is it's a good movie. You're going to see it. I didn't love it, but you're going to see it, and it's okay.
My opinion on this, you are going to see it. If you look out for the small details and actually take the time to notice and appreciate what they've done in the terms of artistry, in the terms of setting up future episodes, and the way they've just the sheer brilliance of the nuance of this piece is what sells it for me, and that's what I think makes it better than Empire, in my opinion.
All right, so we got 1 better than Empire and 1 not close to Empire. All right, well, thank you very much for joining us.
Agree or disagree?
Enjoy The Last Jedi.
Tell us if you like it better than Empire. I hope you do.
I hope you enjoy it as much as Roddy.
Oh, God. No one can enjoy it as much as me. I think I might be the only person who will have that opinion, but I will die on my sword. I will go down on my shield and I will defend to the death.
All right. Until next time, I'm Luke Watson.
I'm Roddy McInnes.
Be sure to watch Celebrity Page Monday through Friday.
May the force be with you.
Check your local listings. Download the Celebrity Page app on iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV. Follow Essential TV and
at Roddy McInnes, or just find me on the internet, or find me in the street.
Or
quite approachable.
in a wretched hive of scum and villainy. May the force be with you, everyone.
Always.